Chanakya was a polymath from ancient India who worked as a teacher, author, strategist, philosopher, economist, jurist, and royal counselor. He is commonly recognized as Kautilya or Vishnugupta, the author of the Arthashastra, an ancient Indian political treatise written during the 3rd-4th centuries BCE. As a result, he is regarded as a forefather of political science and economics in India, and his work is regarded as an essential forerunner to classical economics. His writings were lost towards the end of the Gupta Empire in the 6th century CE and were not found again until the early 20th century. Around 321 BCE, Chanakya aided the first Mauryan ruler Chandragupta in his ascent to power and is usually regarded with helping to build the Mauryan Empire. Both Chandragupta and his son Bindusar appointed Chanakya as their top counselor. Chanakya is credited with 2 books, Arthashastra and Chanakyaniti, commonly known as Chanakyaniti Shastra. Arthashastra is a book written in Sanskrit, explains theories and concepts of state governance. Kautilya created an immensely important imperative: government, polity, and progress must all be tied to people's well-being. It is divided in 15 chapters. Book 1 contains brief introduction, context with other sciences, deals with the kings, training, appointment of ministers and other officers, daily routine, safety and security. Book 2 or Chapter 2 describes duties of various executive officers, state activities like mining, agriculture, leisure and so on. Book 3 or Chapter 3 gives the description of law and administration of justice and complete code of law. Book 4 or Chapter 4 tells about the suppression of crime, detection of crime, control over merchants and artisans, torture and capital punishment. Book 5 gives description of miscellaneous collection of topics like salary scales of officials. Book 6 or Chapter 6 is short and gives description of important theoretical basis of whole work. In this, Chapter 1 or Part 1 contains theory of constituent elements of state and Chapter 2 or Part 2 contains theory of foreign policy. Book 7 is a compilation of exhaustive discussion which method of foreign policy to use in conduct of foreign affairs. Book 8 is concerned with vyasanas or calamities. Book 9 deals with preparation of war and covers topics like kinds of troops to mobilize, proper conditions to start expedition and dangers to guard. Book 10 is concerned with fighting, main battle camp, types of battle arrays and different modes of fighting. Book 11 has only one chapter on how a conqueror should tackle oligarchies governed by a group of chiefs instead of a single king. Book 12 describes how a weak king, when threatened by a strong king, should frustrate the latter's designs and overcome him. Book 13 is concerned with conquest of enemies fought by deception or by fighting. Also describes how the conquered territories should be ruled. Book 14 deals with secret and occult practices, and Book 15 describes the methodology and logical techniques used in the work. The book Arthashastra contains highly valuable economic insights on international commerce, taxation, government, spending, agriculture and industry. Stability and good governance are inextricably intertwined. There is stability when rulers are responsive, responsible, removable and recallable. Otherwise, there is ambiguity. He suggested that hefty taxes should be avoided. If tax rates are too high, the people will be unwilling to pay the tax and will seek out ways to avoid paying it. The fundamental focus of Kautilya's economic ideas is social welfare. The state was obligated to assist the impoverished and defenseless as well as to be proactive in contributing to the well-being of its residents. Kautilya placed a greater focus on human capital generation, which is important in today's world since progress is impossible without human capital growth. It contains useful financial information. It may be used to illustrate numerous contemporary economic ideas and can be utilized to demonstrate relevance to present times. He proposed a variety of economic policy approaches to promote economic development. The Arthashastra is said to have laid the way for Chandragupta and his grandson Ashoka the Great success. In Indian Vedic civilization, Arthashastra is one of the most compelling and thorough treatise on political science. Arthashastra is regarded as the essence of old Vedic wisdom in politics and economics, and it has a lot of intriguing resonance with the ideas and theories of numerous philosophers, economists, and political scientists around the world. The state is defined for the first time in the Arthashastra of Kautilya as consisting of 7 elements. In Manusmriti, Manu deals with 7 prakritis of the state like king, the ministers, the capital, the realm, the treasure, the army and ally. But Kautilya in his Arthashastra put the same in a different order like the Swami, the Amatyas, the Janpad, the Durg, the Kosh, the Dand, the Mitra and the enemy. He changed the previous order to priority and added a new element, the enemy. Kautilya also reduces the element of the state when he writes the king and kingdom are the primary elements of the state because all other elements revolve round these 2 elements. There is no doubt that the Saptanga theory as given by Kautilya has almost universally accepted as the standard definition to know the nature of state in ancient India. It has been generally recognized that the modern constituents of the state such as sovereignty, government, territory and population are covered by the elements of Swami, Amatya and Janpad in the Saptanga theory of the state. Kautilya restated the relative importance of the different elements of state and then ultimately reduced their number to 7, that is Swami, Amatya, Janpad, Durg, Kosh, Dand and Mitra. Kautilya enumerated 7 prakritis or essential organs of the state. First, the Swami or the sovereign king. It is the first and the most important element. Swami means the monarch. He should be a native of the soil and born in a noble family. He should be brave and well learned. He makes all the important appointments and supervises the government. He has to be virtuous and should treat his subjects like his own children. Kautilya has given extensive powers to the monarch, but those powers are meant for the welfare of the subjects. In the welfare and happiness of his subjects lies his own happiness. Subscribing to monarchy as the ideal form of state, Kautilya has accorded to the king the highest place in the body politic. The Swami is the chief executive head of the state. The word Swami is derived from the word Swayam, which refers to self-determining, which is subjected to be ruled by none, does not follow any external ruling and is liable only to self-imposed restrictions. He is thus the symbol of legal and political authority and power. The king was not to be a despot, exercising power through sheer military force, but was to rule his subjects through affection. Accordingly, the duties and functions that he called upon to perform are of 2 types: protective functions and promotive functions. Protective functions. The king should put down violence and maintain law and order. He should avert dangers and command the army to redress people's grievances, to punish the wrongdoers and to administer justice impartially. Promotive functions. On the other hand, his promotive functions include maintaining unity and solidarity, to reward virtue, to promote agriculture, industry and arts, to regulate the means of livelihood, especially of the laborers and artisans. Amatya, the ministers. In narrow sense, the term Amatya or Mantrin is used for the minister of high grade. Kautilya describes an elaborate system of recruitment of the Amatyas and other officials who were to be morally and ethically pure, honest in financial matters and of good character. The king was expected to appoint only wise men to these offices as they were to be his trusted advisors. These ministers were not only to advise the king whenever their advice was sought, they were also to maintain the secrecy of their deliberations. Janpad, the people and the territory. This unique element of Saptang is the symbol of state, which stands for a territorial society. Here Jan denotes people and Pad is a symbol of territory where these inhabitants permanently reside. Dr. Bhandarkar and R.S. Sharma are of the view that Kautilya's Janpad includes not only territory but also population. Kautilya prescribes the following requisites of a prosperous Janpad in terms of territory: accommodate and support people, defend the state against enemies, find occupation of people, have manageable neighbors, provide pastures, have arable land, mines, forest, and provide good internal communication, that is rivers, road and outlet to sea. Durg, fortification. Kautilya regarded fortification as essential for the defense and protection of the state. He wanted the state to fortify the territories from all sides. He has described 4 types of fortification, which include Odak, Parvat, Dhanvan and Van. Of these categories, the first 2 are used for the protection of the territory and the remaining 2 are used for the protection of the farmers. These fortifications thus would not only protect the people and the capital but would also be suitable for fighting purposes, that is, for both defensive and offensive purposes. Kosh, the treasury. The flourishing economy is essential for the existence of the state in all times and circumstances. That is probably why the philosophers of ancient India looked at treasury as an essential element of the state. Though Kautilya wanted a prosperous treasury, he specifically directed the king to earn the wealth of nation only by legitimate and righteous means and in no way by unfair and immoral means. Dand, the army or the force. Kautilya accepted a strong and hereditary Kshatriya army as the most important requisite of the state. He insisted on the hereditary army as it would not only be skilled, well contended and obedient to the king's will but also be free from duplicity. Such an army would serve both the defensive and offensive purposes of the king. Hence, it was obvious for Kautilya to pay great attention to the maintenance and organization of the army. For instance, in Arthashastra, we find him mentioning as many as half a dozen heads of departments, namely the in charge of the armory, naval forces, cavalry, elephants, chariots and infantry. Mitra, the allies. Having realized that political isolation means death, Kautilya proceeded to consider the Mitra or the ally as a vital factor. Kautilya recognizes 2 kinds of allies, namely Sahaj and Kritrim. The Sahaj or natural ally is the one whose friendship is derived from the times of king's father and grandfather and who is situated close to the territory of the immediately neighboring enemy. On the other hand, the Kritrim or the acquired ally is the one whose friendship is specially restored to for the protection of wealth and life. The concept of Dandaniti and how it is related with Rajdharma. The concept of Dandaniti can be best understood when we understand the meaning of the term Dand itself. Dand means force or the administration of force or punishment, and Dandaniti means the art of governance or the science of governance. So basically, this means it is the art of governance where the administration of force or punishment is dealt with by the king so that the injustice does not prevail in the kingdom and justice is served. According to Rajdharma or the dharma of the king, it is the duty of the king to correct injustice and serve justice. Therefore, the art of punishment or Dandaniti is subordinated to the concept of Rajdharma, and this is the relation between the two. The primary meaning of the word Dand is stick, from which its later meaning Niti can be easily inferred. Niti basically means science, so we can also say that it is the science of justice or the science of punishment. It is important to note that the concept of Dand and Dandaniti has been dealt in a number of ways in Indian philosophy. The way or the means to resolve a conflict could vary. It could be done by the means of Sam, Dam, Bhed and Dand. Now let's understand these in detail. Sam means negotiation, Dam means incentives, Bhed means division and Dand means punishment. For example, Mahabharata deals with the Kurukshetra war, which was based on the conflict that arose between the family members, that is, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. In order to resolve the conflict, first Sam or negotiation was tried, but it did not work out because the rightful heir Yudhishthir was not given the kingdom. Then Dam or incentives and then the means of Bhed or division of the kingdom was also used. When all the negotiations and incentives and the divisions failed, lastly what was left was Dand, thus Dandaniti or going to war to avenge injustice was followed as shown in the Mahabharata. This shows that the Pandavas had followed the policy of using the means to correct injustice or Dandaniti. Now coming to Kautilya. Kautilya in his Arthashastra accepted 4 sciences. They are Anvishki, Trai, Varta and Dandaniti. Anvishki is basically known as the science of philosophy. Trai deals with the study of 3 Vedas, Rig, Sam and Yajur, as Atharva Veda was added later. Varta is also known as the science of wealth and Dandaniti. Kautilya in his text Arthashastra says Dandaniti means the science of government, which is also similar to using force to control the disturbing elements in the society. As the name rightly suggests, Dand, that means rod or stick, a symbol of force or state power. He also mentions that Dandaniti should be the basis of Purusharthas or the goals of human life. He identified 4 purposes for the Dandaniti. They are acquisition of the unacquired, preservation of the preserved, augmentation or increasing the preserved, and fair distribution of the preserved. So, by these 4 purposes, Kautilya basically says that Dandaniti should be used or can be used when we have to acquire something or preserve something or augment or increase the preservation or the preserved, and lastly, fair distribution of the preserved should be done. In case these are not done, then Dandaniti should be used. If you want to know about any other topic, please leave it in the comment box so that I can come back with it. If you have liked the episode, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.